Hello everyone, Julia Sheehan here, independent Stampin'UP demonstrator from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Today I'd just like to do this very basic card with you, but it's a card that is so universal. You can use it for so many different things. You could use it as I have with this beautiful stamp set called Grandma's House, and the sentiments on here are just beautiful. But you could also use it for a birthday card, for a Christmas card, for a get well card, anything, retirement card, because it's just a nice, neat, basic card. Now, I know that the people that have been doing stamping for a long time probably go, oh yeah, I know how to do all this, and that's probably true, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are just sort of thinking, what's a card I can do that doesn't use a lot of products but will give me a really nice looking card? And I think this sort of covers that sort of area. It's neat, it's striking with the gold foil, and you can change it up in various different ways. And as you can see from this one, I did it just very plain, just using Whisper White and the gold foil, and stamped directly on to my piece of Whisper White here. Then with this one, I changed it up a little bit, and I cut out the circle and the scallop, put it up on dimensionals, and just gave it a little bit of extra something. And that's what you can do with it. You can do all sorts of things with it. You might put your sentiment up on something, or you might put a bit of ribbon through it, or underneath here, or all sorts of things you can do. But there's so many stamps that you could use it for. You could use it for Christmas. You know, you could do some beautiful bells or stars or whatever you want. Or there's that lovely stamp set, Back on Your Feet, for a get well card, and do the lovely little turtle on its back in there. So it's just so many ways you could use it. And so tonight I'm just going to do this really simple little card, and I've done it small. It's not a large card. It's 8 1/4 inches by 4 1/8 inches, and then when it's folded and burnished, it becomes 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. And I did it for the reason that I'm making these cards for a grandma, because this sentiment says, what happens at grandma's stays at grandma's. And then on the inside I've put, congratulations on the birth of your beautiful new grandbaby. And I think so often parents are congratulated and everything, but grandparents, it's a special time for them. And I know this because I'm a grandparent, and it's different. It's special. You know that you're going to have this little person come along and you're going to spoil them rotten. And I just think it's nice for someone to acknowledge that you've got a grandchild. And so I thought I'd do this for my friends who are about to become grandparents, and just pop a little box of chocolates or something with it, and just, you know, congratulations, you're going to be a grandparent, because it's a really exciting time. So this is what I've done. So that's the base. So it's only a nice little square. And then I'm using some gold foil, which I'll tilt so it doesn't do strange things with the screen. And I cut that at 4 inches by 4 inches. And those of you who watch me regularly know that I try and be thrifty with my gold cardstock. So I cut the scallop out of the centre of it. So this scallop here that I'm going to use comes out of the middle of my gold cardstock. And so I'm using that here. Then I have a piece of Whisper White again, and I've used thick Whisper White for all of this. I like the feel of the thick Whisper White. I just like the weight of it. It's just a personal preference. If you want to use just the regular Whisper White, then that's what you've got. By all means, use it. But I just like this thicker paper. And that piece is that little bit extra smaller because I like to show a good gold border around here. So I haven't just dropped by 1/8 of an inch, I've done 2/8. So that one comes down to 3 6/8 by 3 6/8. And that's just how I like it. If you want a thinner border, by all means, just do it 4 7/8 square. Okay, so I'm just going to put my gold foil onto my card. That'll get that out of the way. And you'll see how quickly this comes together too. It's just a nice, quick little card. So if you've got to get something off to someone, this might be the type of card that you need to sort of have in the back of your mind, because you can just do anything with it. Anniversary, anything. And of course, you can make it larger. You can do it as a regular size card. It's just that I'm doing it as a grandparent card, so I decided to do it that little bit smaller. It's just a nice little acknowledgement of the fact that they're excited too about being a grandparent. Okay, so that's done. And then when I put this Whisper White over the top of it, you won't even know that it's gone. So I'll do my stamping, get it all done. Because it's square, it doesn't matter, I can put it anywhere. And I'll get my VersaMark ink, which I had here just a minute ago. There it is. And we'll do the first lot of stamping. What happens at Grandma's? I've got both my stamps on this, as I've got all my blocks with stamps already set up on them, because I'm doing all sorts of different projects at the moment. And then I'm going to put this, just keep that steady, at the top of my card. And hopefully I've done it straight. Just give that a press down. And let's have a look. Yes, that's pretty straight there, that's good. Just grab my gold embossing powder and I'll be right with you. Okay, there it is. So we'll just do that one. That's good. And then I'll do the one at the bottom. And that's the one that says stays at Grandma's. So just make sure I've got that up the right way. Yes, that's the right way. What happens at Grandma's stays at Grandma's, and it's so true. I love it when my grandchildren are here. Unfortunately, my grandchildren live in Tonga at the moment, so I don't get to see them very much at all, which is sad, but I think they're having a wonderful time and learning a lot. Their father is a marine scientist over there, so I'd say they're having an amazing time. The photos that we get back from there are stunning. Okay, so I'm just going to get my heat gun. Also, oh, there's my little paintbrush. I'll just get these little bits off the middle there. Okay. Excuse the noise, please. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that's come up really nicely. Now, I will show you something. We all make mistakes. When I was doing the first card, anybody with an eagle eye might have noticed this, but if you have a look just here, you can see that the S is a little bit thicker, and I put just a bit too much pressure on the end of my stamp when I pressed it down, and I shouldn't have, but I wasn't thinking, and I just put more weight on it than I probably should have, and so it started to spread the ink a little bit. So this is how it should come up if you give a nice even pressure. So just something to keep in mind. Alright, so now I can attach that to the card as well, because that's all we have to do to that. And that'll be done. I love cards that are quick and easy to do, and you can get a few done. I'm actually quite keen to do a get well card like this as well. Okay, so the other thing, of course, you can do too is if you don't have the gold foil, is to use a colour or black. You know, like that would look quite striking, I think, doing it in black. So don't be afraid to experiment. Okay, so we'll put that on there. That's good, and that's ready and on the side. Now the next thing I'm going to do is the little house. Here it is. And again, I need my VersaMark ink, and I'm just going to stamp this on here. And this is just an extra piece of Whisper White that I've an offcut from something, because this is what I'm going to cut it out from. So I'm just going to pop that sort of roughly in the middle. And again, even pressure. Don't go crazy with the pressure. Just a nice steady hand. Okay. And some more gold embossing powder. And yes, I do use a lot of embossing powder, but I really find that it defines the outlines on these cards so nicely that I just really like to use it. I mean, you could use silver, black, copper. I think they'd all look lovely, but I'm just using gold because I've got some gold foil at the moment. And then I'm just going to quickly do this. And don't worry too much if there's a little bit around, because we're going to cut it out anyway. And what I generally do is I give it a bit of heat underneath so it doesn't warp too much. And try not to burn myself as well. Look how quickly that changed. There we go. Embossing can make things look so good. Alright, so then I used my layering circles, and I used the 6th from the centre. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one here. And the 6th scallop from the centre too, making sure that you count both groups. And that just sits really nicely over the top of that, and you can cut that whole thing out. And I already started colouring this one, and I've already cut this one out, and the same, you saw that I had that as well. So I'll just finish the colouring of this. I'll try not to go out of the lines too much in my hurrying to do it, but these are just the quick colours I've chosen. I didn't want to do it just a plain colour, because I think when you're a grandparent you can pretty much do what you want, and colour's good. So, this is so easy to colour in too, even though it's got lots of little bits to it, it's still quick and easy. And just a tip, oh, the cat's just come in. I really need to oil that door. Okay, so when you get down into these little intricate areas, just put the tip of your Stampin' Blend in there, and it just spreads the ink enough, and the gold embossing powder stops it from spreading any further. So it's like a border. It's a bit like when you do silk painting. It just retains it within that area, which is really good. So, again down here. Oh, he's gone again. Just come in to have a look. See what I'm doing. It's actually night time here, so he's probably coming in sort of saying it's time for you to go to bed. And he sleeps on my bed, so he's very spoiled. And then a little red heart. And that's what I love about this particular stamp, is the fact that it's got that beautiful red heart on it. Just so suitable for grandparents. And don't worry about the colours you use whatever you like. So it's not necessary for me to give you a list of colours, not unless you particularly wanted them. And if you want to know what I used and you're not sure, just drop me a message and I'll certainly write them up for you. But I'm sure you'll come up with some of your own. And a bit of pineapple punch in this one, I think. Do the door. I just love how quickly this comes together. And a little bit on the chimney. We're almost done. I've made this a real grandma's house. When my grandkids do come, I always have lots of colour pencils and paint and things out for them. Only 5 and 2, but just about to be 2 anyway. And we'll have a bright pink bird, I think. There we go. So that's done. Then we attach it to the scalloped disc that I cut out. Just glue it down. Okay. And like I say, it's not a complex card, but it's one that's so versatile because you can just change it up to anything you want it to be. Okay, there's that bit. Then we're going to pop it up on dimensionals. And if I can remember where I put them. There they are. And I'm just using the side pieces of my dimensionals. A pair of scissors. Just cut just bits out, and won't use that one, it's not quite coming off the way it should. One there. You only need about 4 or 5 on the back of this just to balance it out. That's all I'm using. I don't know about all of you, but I end up with these dimensional bits all over my floor. I seem to just have a myriad of them everywhere. And one more. Just pop that one in the middle just to balance it out a bit. Okay, then we're just going to pop that in the middle of the card. That's about right. Give that a little press down and it's done. And then I can just put my sentiment inside the card. Now you could, if you wanted to, put another piece in there, or you could do a bit of gold and another bit of white, just depending on how much gold cardstock you've got. And just a piece that sort of, this is just roughly what I'm telling you about, and you could do a piece like that just so it's got that little bit of extra, maybe a little bit of gold ink on the sides around it, whatever you feel like. But I'm just going to do it straight onto the card tonight, so I'm just going to VersaMark that as well, just emboss it. And hopefully I'll get this fairly straight. Try and push down evenly. As you can see, I'm using two sides of a lot of my blocks at the moment. That's what happens when you have too many projects going. Okay, and then there we are. And I'll just heat emboss that. That's also another reason why I often use the thick cardstock, because it doesn't warp as much as what the thin one does. So entirely up to you. But there is a quick little card. There's your basic one straight onto your sheet, or if you have the layering circles, you can always just fancy it up a bit and do this. And like I say, you can put your sentiment up on banners, you can put ribbons through it, you could put some bells on it with, you know, like a bell shape or whatever, just using your basic background. And it does make for a sweet little card. And again, you could do it larger square, you could do it your rectangle size card. It really doesn't matter, excuse me. But yeah, have a look at this stamp set. I haven't seen a lot on it around at present. And I think it's one that possibly gets overlooked, but it is so cute. And so many sentiments here. And fun ones, you know, like I love this. What happens at Grandma stays at Grandma's. So that happens here. Anyway, everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's just a simple card, but it's one to think of, to have in the back of your mind, just so you've got it there as a backup. Oh, what will I do? Oh, I know. Gold and white, white and black, whatever you want to do. Okay, if this is your first time viewing my channel, I'd love it if you would subscribe, and that way you can join me each week. I do a card each week, and if you want to have a look at this, there is a link to my online store. Pop in there and have a browse around and see what stamp sets and inks and things we have to offer. And I will see you all again next week and have a new card for you. But anyway, for now, I hope you have an enjoyable rest of the week and a lovely weekend, and I'll talk to you again next week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.